Well, let's go to one of your favorite topics, Dr. Ikwa, GoldBod. So, apart from Professor Stephen Ade, who has said that GoldBod is legitimizing or legalizing galamsey, many others on this my very table as well have said that they've questioned who is GoldBod buying the GoldBod from. They have been quite clear. They say that they buy from small-scale miners. I mean, if you look at it, they say that between January and October 2025, they've generated a little over $8 billion US dollars. They are actually targeting about, I think, a little over 12 billion annually in revenue. This is same GoldBod. Do you agree to what Professor Ade is saying?
I don't think there's any logical argument that could be made in the opposite of that assertion.
But they are legal small-scale miners.
A mine to be mining it. No, just look at the inputs, the rate of increase of the amount of gold we are generating in this country. I think so far BOG has bought 6.5 tons. No, 66 tons actually. That's how much GoldBod has been able to buy, and you cannot obviously be getting that from there are only 2 licensed ethical mining companies, with ethical mining companies, only 2. They obviously cannot be generating 66 tons of gold. Then you add all the large-scale mining. No, actually, GoldBod buys from the small and medium-scale mining through aggregators and whatnot. And for me, PMMC was doing this the same thing through the domestic gold purchase program. The only difference here is the monopoly that has been created, meaning that GoldBod is the only one that can purchase and export. Before, PMMC was doing that, but other dealers were in that. So now the crask of, basically you are the end point of all the small-scale mining and illegal mining that's going on in this country. What's funny is, in opposition, the NDC they had a problem. They were refusing to draw a line between small-scale miners that might be doing the right thing, mining legally and ethically, and illegal small-scale miners that we would describe as galamseyers. They never drew that distinction. But now that you've set up a very profitable state-owned enterprise to regulate our gold markets, now you want us to be able to draw the line. How? Have they been able to start their traceability and accessibility to be able to know whether...
But if you operate a monopoly, does that not suggest that you're likely to be the one
that should be the point of it, but it's been 11 or how many? It's been 10 months or so, and we haven't seen any progress with that. To me, I thought that was the best part of making it a monopoly. If you are the only one, then you can put stricter measures in place to be able to regulate where you get the gold from. But a premium has been put on generating revenue rather than cleaning up the system. And that has been quite clear. And I don't see why Prof. Ade is coming under attack, because I also took time to read some of the news reports about what he said. The allegations are just too much. You know, since the NDC took over government, every time we take our phones or we come and sit here, it's another allegation with regards to illegal mining that involves some of them. What I have seen today that I would want to take just a little time to read, because it is actually also on the Informer. Government accused of legalizing galamsey through GoldBod, and it has Prof. Ade's photo together with the CEO of GoldBod. And the new person that has been fingered now is Nadmo Boss. Professor Ade's revelation comes at a time that the Chief of Praso District National Disaster Management Organization Director, James Pra, is accused of encouraging galamsey activities at Abuboya. To summarize, basically there's been sort of a pseudo task force that has been set up in that enclave to go, not to stop the people from actually destroying our water bodies and mining, but to extort money from them so that they can continue. So the allegation here is that this person has led a task force to go and see some illegal miners to demand 20,000 cedis. They were not able to pay the 20,000 cedis. They were offering 2,000 cedis. And so because of that, there was like a fracas. That is the kind of madness that this fight against galamsey is degenerating into, because the party and the government that told us that they had the strong political will to be able to do this, they've come over and their own people have turned into the mercenaries of the game. And they don't seem to be able to do anything about it. I'm quite happy that my big sister Shamima is on the phone. Maybe she can update us on what's going on, the progress of the cases against Yamin. the progress of the cases against NDC Abanga, because we also have an Abanga, and all the other people that have come out, the National Security Coordinator in Ashanti region, who was supposedly involved and are taking over somebody's mind. See, every day there are different allegations. We come here, sit, talk about it, and nothing is done about it.
Are these not isolated cases?
How are they isolated? If every day I come and sit here, I get about 3 new things to tell you. That's not isolated. It's becoming more of a pattern. Not becoming, it is a pattern. It's showing directly that the promises that the NDC made to these galamseyers to campaign to win their vote for the election has become an albatross around their necks, because now they are finding it very, very hard to combat it. How do you go to somebody that you went to make friends with, to make so many promises to, in order to get their vote, and now you want to tell them that the same thing that they were doing to generate money, that they were using to sponsor you and give you some money, now you want them to stop? That's the crux of the problem. And that if you listen to all aspects of the issue that happened with the 2 members of parliament in the was it Esutifi area, you could see that the undertones of that story was just that. He didn't want to lose his constituencies, voters, because most of them are minors. And so that has become the crux of this problem. And it's about time that the government stops playing hide and seek. I'm very sure that the response I'll get is that we were there for 8 years, and so we should have done something. The people of Ghana voted us out. You are now in government. You made a lot of lofty promises. Firstly, that you were not going to arrest people in pits, because that would be playing whack-a-mole, and that's exactly what it is. You are not solving any problem. The people usually at the bottom of the pyramid are very replaceable. So the owner of the concession the next day will get another 10 boys to be able to come, because he's paying them about 1,000 cedis a day. They don't mind being arrested and going to jail. So you are not solving the problem. And that was one of the actual good things that they noticed in opposition to talk about, that they are not going to be arresting the small people. They are going to go after the kingpins. But we are not seeing that. What we are rather seeing is, it looks like their party operatives are turning into the kingpins.
Okay. If I have Shamima, Vicky, permit me, I want to go to Shamima. Sure. I'm certain she'd like to respond to a few things. And whilst you're responding to it, you also take notice of the Ashanti NDC calling for a probe into illegal money allegations against the regional minister. This one is coming right after the public claim made by Wendell Nanayao Yeboah, head of mobilization at Democracy Hub, during a live broadcast on Aluta FM, saying that, he accused 3 regional ministers, one the Ashanti regional minister, Western and Eastern region, of being directly involved in galamsey operations. I don't know if this has come to your attention.
Well, Dr. Ekwia started by making a disclaimer, because on the front page of some newspaper was a story that, according to her, they had already responded to. So I'm also surprised that on your platform, you have not added, you've read a story without adding that the Ashanti regional minister has since taken this matter to court, because he came on his page and he told them that the lie that had been fabricated against him, they must come out and withdraw it or face them to court. And he has gone to court on his platform. He's been on this matter since, last week. So to read some allegation against the Ashanti regional minister without also reading what the action he has taken to stop this jandam that is happening is, maybe it's an oversight, but I'm just putting it to your listening public that the Ashanti regional minister, Dr. Moakohene, has rejected this false allegation. He has taken further steps to take the accusers to court so they can come and, provide evidence. But
and the Western and Eastern? And the Western and Eastern as well.
So do you accept that the Ashanti regional minister has responded to this?
I'm not refuting that at all. My crux of coming to you is that the Ashanti.
I've not heard about Western and region. So let me just quickly say that I am happy that under President John Dramani Mahama's government, where he himself has declared a zero-tolerance policy against any member of his administration reported, accused, or found to be engaging in any illegal activity, will be made to face the full rigors of the law. So I'm happy that investigations are ongoing. It was not so in the immediate past, and it was not so because Dr. Ekwia says, when you were speaking about the matter of the domestic violence, that all these initiatives that we are rolling out, which we say is to help, mitigate the vulnerabilities within our communities, that she knows that they will not work because under their leadership, I take note that she's saying that they were not serious about fighting violence because their initiatives did not work. What I can assure her, that is my interpretation from what you said, because you said that these
Please let her land,
initiatives
then you can respond.
let me land. I didn't interfere. You said that these initiatives we are putting in place, our Ejumawura, our Codes program, our Women's Bank, were existing in your time in a different format, but they did not solve the problem. And so you don't trust that we will be able to solve the problem. What I can assure you, that we have a different kind of leader, and that leader is committed to ensuring that his social contract with the people is strictly implemented, and we are beginning to see the results. So indeed, the NDC government under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama cannot be compared to your leadership then. And so if you do say that, people will say that, but under your 8 years regime, you were unable to deliver on your commitments to the people, which is why you lost by 1.7 million votes and you currently have 87 MPs in parliament, then you should allow the party that has been, voted overwhelmingly by the people of Ghana some breathing space to implement their programs. But that's not your approach you have taken. You've taken an approach to trying to water down every single thing they do and trying to bring down every single thing they do without any superior suggestions on how it should be done. Because if you indeed had superior suggestions on how it could be done, you should have benefited your party with those interventions. But here we are. So usually I don't personally always want to use these platforms to engage in this, what did you do, what you did not do. And I didn't start with that. You decided to say that you want to respond to what Shamima has said, and you went on this. So I'm just clarifying that. Now let's come to the issue of GoldBod. I would like to take this moment to extend our deepest condolences to the families of the NIMOS executive, the group that is fighting galamsey heads-on a daily basis. Let me announce to the general public that kindly follow the social media pages of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. On a daily basis, we are posting updates on what we are achieving with the fight against galamsey. On a daily basis, there are updates being posted. And of course, NIMOS has since, received some fatalities as a result of the work that they have done. So I want to extend our condolences to the families of the NIMOS officers that lost their life because of the work they're doing for God and for country. And also for the minister, for the chief executive officer for EPA and his officers who were also involved in an accident as a result of near attacks by armed men when they went out there to inspect. Now let me come to the specific issue of GoldBod. Before GoldBod, even when illegal mining galamsey had taken a chokehold of our environment, our forest, which was as a result of the unbridled liberalization of the licensing regime that gave people leave. So as you have seen, over 249 licenses has since been revoked, which licenses were given over the 8-year period of the previous administration. In fact, the last 4 years of their administration saw a lot of these licenses. They were not in a position to run legal schemes because they did not have the requisite equipment to mine responsibly, but they were giving these licenses to enter and besiege our forest reserves. All of those licenses, those that had expired, that they could not, go through the normal process, those that had not completed their licensing processes before they besieged the forest, like Chairman Wuntumi's company, have been revoked. This was the beginning of the collapse of the fight. even when that was happening, Ghana, and we couldn't account for the gold within the illegal mining sector.
That's not true.
Neither could we account for the gold within the small to medium scale sector. As Dr. Amwaku concedes on your show, because it was not a monopoly and there were other players in the field, and government could really not track how much volume of gold was coming in and how much was going and how much government was supposed to be getting from it. Economically, does it make sense that a natural resource like gold, at a period that gold is making so much, I think $4,900 a year now, for a nation not to have a properly regulated gold trading sector? Does it make sense? So even when the illegal mining was happening, Ghana has always still been in the top gold producing countries as a result of our big gold corporations and our legal small to medium scale mining corporations. Ghana has always been within the top in Africa, and even I think some time ago we went as high as the world or so. So you cannot say that it is because of gold from illegal mining sources. That is why GoldBod is making the sort of gains that they are making. Now, let me tell you that GoldBod didn't start operating in January. GoldBod, after the CEO was appointed, started the most comprehensive community stakeholder engagement event ever. GoldBod, by the time they finished drafting the GoldBod Act, we had key stakeholders being the ones to speak to the media, telling us that this is one of the best laws ever created. In that law is the provision for traceability. Now, GoldBod envisages
traceability of where the gold is bought from.
Of course, it has to be part of the law. And when you set up a law, you must give it an implementation phase. How can an act that requires the establishment of gold traceability system be intended to legalize galamsey? I am saying to you that there were a lot of gaps in our gold trading ecosystem. All those gaps have been effectively blocked.
Okay.
So you can't take, now listen, if you've gone to mine illegally and you cannot take the gold out, because eventually you cannot come to GoldBod to sell your gold because you cannot show evidence of where your gold came from. That it is in itself is a disincentive. Disincentive packages, when you put them in place, will have a maturity date. So please, let not anyone tell us that it is okay to have allowed the status quo ante then to persist, where there was no regulation of the industry.
Okay.
It is better that today we have a regulated industry and we are beginning to see the gains from that regulated industry.
Okay.
It is just positive that at the point where President Mahama has become president, gold prices have soared. And so that is in itself a benefit. So if you had a certain volume of gold sitting in your Bank of Ghana, the value of that gold has more than tripled, quadrupled. There's no, what is the
by no fault of yours, though, isn't it?
Let me, Shamima, let me come back to the studio and have Vicky also contribute to.
Yes.
I see you also want to clear air, but of course, Vicky.
I wanted to just quickly add, Emefa, that
okay.
Please, if you also want to know exactly what is happening, again, the GoldBod has remained very transparent in its operations. Please go onto GoldBod social media pages. There are regular updates. And let me say congratulations to Sami Demfi. Ghana has just been named the vice chair of the Kimberley process, which is the global, framework for, I think, diamonds and everything like that. Ghana has been named the vice chair for 2026 and will be the chair for 2027, all because of the leadership that we are providing in our local gold industry. Over centuries, we have mined gold. For the first time in our history, Ghana is beginning to gain direct benefits from our industry. Please, let us support and sanitize the system. And that is what the president was trying to say. If in the window, because we had to stagger the implementation, we are a pragmatic government. We are not idealistic alone. We must be pragmatic. We had to stagger the implementation. We told people, come and regularize, come and register to trade in gold in Ghana, bring, come and regularize your affairs. You need to give people that window. So let's say that at the time you even gave legal small-scale miners the opportunities to come and regularize. And they also had in stock some gold. Should you now say that, please, this is buying from legal small to medium scale enterprises? You are telling them that bring your gold and come and sell. At that point, should your interest as a government be that you, this legal small and medium scale enterprises, where did you get your gold from?
I think I think you've made the point. Let me come back to the studio and have Vicky respond to a few of the things that you have said and also share her comments on it. Professor Adem-Mensah just says that really the GoldBod in its way is legalizing illegal mining. Of course, Shamima is also giving us a breakdown. Vicky is also, Dr. Ekwa is also giving us her perspective to it. I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to join my voice with Shamima's in sending my condolences to Naimus and then the families of the 5, I think there were 5 of them, staff members who died in this very fight that we're all fighting against, or we are all engaged in. I think for me, the institution of the GoldBod itself is something to be commended. It's an initiative that's sitting at the intersection of resource governance, environmental protection, and economic policy. And I think that what it was set up to do is something that we need to do because the amount of gold that was leaving this country illegally was just staggering. And so any step in trying to curb that, for me, is something that we must all support as Ghanaians. I don't see it as a political thing. I just see it as something that Ghana, we have to protect our gold reserves, and we have to make sure that we are the ones benefiting from it and not unscrupulous actors. So it is a new initiative, it's a new institution, and there will be teething problems. And so for me, we need to give the GoldBod a chance before we start wading in with huge criticisms. We only have to look at our forest reserves now and see how they've been strengthened by all of this. And this initiative has played a huge part in that. Of course, gold prices have also soared, so that has also contributed to it. Having said that, it's important that the mechanisms that the GoldBod Act has put in place for traceability and value capture must be implemented. We've been talking about implementing laws. Today, it's been a common theme in our discussion. So I think that implementation is important because without strict enforcement of licensing and having transparent audit trails and proper oversight to ensure the integrity of the sector, you will have these kinds of criticisms going on because it then risks having these illegal miners legitimizing themselves within the system. So for me, that is something that needs to be looked at. And also, we need to continue to look at the way in which, I don't think we should attack Professor Adai. I think what he said is I don't agree with that statement. Let me start off by saying that. And I think it's too strong and too, he says it as a fact. And I think that is not, it's not right to state it as a categorical fact like that. Because you are now blaming a whole institution as legalizing galamsey. And I mean, we have seen the initiatives that the government has taken to actually try and tackle this fight head on. So I think it is, it's a little bit unfortunate to have it put that way. But I think what we have to examine is whether the system, if not well policed, will allow illegal miners to infiltrate it. You know, because that is something that I feel we have to put in some bars to ensure that doesn't happen.
Does it have the potential to do that?
Well, of course. I mean, every system, you know, people always find loopholes in every system. And that's not just for this, for everything, you know, whether it's, well, whatever you can think of, people are always looking for
Maybe
loopholes.
It sounds like a stretch, but imagine if you're mining illegally anyway, because the government can fight illegal mining all it can. But if you're mining illegally in anywhere and GoldBod can buy the gold from you, at least we're not losing completely, right?
That's exactly what's going on.
Well, that is one way of putting it, you know. What I want to say is that not all small-scale miners are illegal miners. And I think one has to be mindful of that. And the small-scale miners that are mining legitimately are very upset because we all say small-scale miners, illegal miners, galamsey, and they are all put in the same basket. So I think that is very unfair on those small-scale miners who are mining legally. I don't know whether any of these illegal miners have found their way in. It may be that they have. I don't know. What I'm saying is that we need to make sure that the system that is there now is robust enough to stop that. Because if it doesn't, then the GoldBod, instead of becoming a reform tool, now becomes a tool to allow these unscrupulous. It defeats the very object for which it was set up. You know, so I don't like categorical statements like, oh, you know, GoldBod is now legitimizing illegal. I mean, it just sounds inflammatory, and that kind of thing doesn't help us as a nation. For me, we have to look at the system. We have to look at the rationale behind setting up the GoldBod. We have to look at the mandate that it has under the Act. We have to look at their performance so far, even though it's a very short period. And of course, we'll keep on monitoring their performance, because once you have some data on performance, it now becomes easier to make these statements or disprove them. You know, but for now, I think we need to be very cautious and not fan up that whole inflammatory thing. And at the same time, the GoldBod has to be mindful that this is a genuine concern of Ghanaians.
Right.
That, you know, as for galamsey, whatever it is, it has to go. And Ghanaians care deeply about that because of all the things that we always keep talking about, you know, all the negative effects and all of that. So they have to make sure that they put in place the brakes and don't expose them to this kind of themselves to this kind of criticism. You know, because if it keeps going on and they are not seen to do anything to stop the possible infiltration of illegal miners, then people will come and make these kinds of inflammatory statements.
Dr. Kuyat, so Shamima made some important points which I want to hear from you.
You have to forgive me, but it's the hypocrisy and hubris of the NDC on the matter
How so?
of galamsey. Firstly, I was the one who was always of this position that, you know, small-scale miners, some are doing work legitimately. They are different. They are people that are doing it illegally. They are legitimate small-scale miners that will finish with one concession, try to cover up the pits and leave.
That's public knowledge.
Yes, once they leave, the people in the community will now come and start mining on their old concession. This is an argument that I made very well when we were in opposition, just trying to explain to them. That wasn't, the NDC was not willing to hear that. Everybody that had any sort of connection to the gold trade was a galamseyer, according to them. Now they want to draw distinctions. All the allegations that were made against people from the Flagstaff House here and there with regards to galamsey, they took it as matter of fact. But now, today, Shamima is asking us that...
Shamima makes the point that if you say that the NPP has been... Okay, land.
Yeah, because Frank Amwakuhne has disclaimed the allegation, we should take that as gospel. Why couldn't that apply to NPP appointees at that time? Because, again, it was never backed by any evidence. It was all hearsay. Number two, I listed various incidents of NDC people that are involved in galamsey. The matter of GoldBod and galamsey can never be disjointed. They would always be discussed together because no matter what, GoldBod is going to buy from gold. For us to make this thing work efficiently and effectively, the first thing to have done is to sanitize the gold mining industry first. is to have been able to create a situation where people that want to go into mining can do the mining legitimately.
But she said that they did. She said that when GoldBod was inaugurated, they went around to create some good education, some community engagement and all of that. What else would be
reducing? Cape Coast is without water, turbidity is worse. We've been on tour recently, so now I've been seeing the devastating effects of galamsey with myself. So by my own eyes. So you cannot say you are doing something when the results are not showing.
Does it also matter when she says that, well, if you agree that you were voted out, how about give the government or the party that's been voted in some breathing space to operationalize what they have said?
If we had seen them doing anything different, meaningful, or anything that would have brought some impact, I would sit here and commend
But GoldBod is just recording this billions of cities in the past who couldn't measure
in finances. But how has that helped the environmental degradation? The problem of galamsey was never about generating revenue. That has never been the issue.
But at least it was not accounted
so
for.
are we now placing a priority on the ability to generate money? That's never been a problem. If so, then just allow them to mine. We will be inundated with money, because gold equals money, and now it is at a very high rate. What you promised was to come and sanitize the whole gold mining architecture, which you have not done. When we ask, all you talk about is 9 months, and arresting of people. And I always maintain, and I always say, arresting people did not start in 2025. It is not new. We have had Operation this, Operation that, Galam Stop, Vanguard, this, that. Arresting people who has... You can go back the last 6 years. Almost every week you take a newspaper and there would have been a story of arrests made on galamsey.
What would the fight against illegal mining look like to the NPP? What would it look like?
And especially with you, I've sat here and today I can see we don't have time, to explain the new approach that we wanted to pursue. If I had seen anything like that coming from the NDC, they also came up with a lot of supposed new things that they wanted to do, things they spoke about in opposition that they wanted to do with regards to galamsey. I've not seen them do anything about that. The first thing I asked was, they said they were going to go after the kingpins, check the importations of excavators. Now the ports can be so full up with excavators that they have to be moved somewhere else.
Are these not excavators that were imported already?
No,
for them to be able to clear for the ports.
Excavators are imported all the time, but this was one of the ways that they claimed they were going to check the system. But no, we are importing way more excavators than we were importing before.
But now without a license, you cannot import it.
This has always been the case. Number two, we're talking about licenses. Are we really going to go down this tangent of licenses? To me, I think that was the worst day for NDC Comms when they were sitting down trying to come up with talking points on this matter. What is wrong with trying to clean up a system by licensing people so you can put them in a regulatory net and you can actually check on them? Why have they decentralized the offices of the Minerals Commission and co? So to make it easier for people to get licenses there, then you come and sit on national TV and then want to bastardize licensing. It's like accusing, because of road accidents on the road, saying that DVLA should not give out driving licenses. That's the logic of the argument with regards to this licensing matter. And whenever I hear it, I'm like, no, that's a line you should deviate from, especially when you have not done anything new on this galamsey matter. You haven't started one new policy that people can sit back and say, this is going to bring some progress.
But she says that there's a new president who's more willing. She says that there's, in her submission, you would hear her say that, well, there is the President John Dramani Mahama who's more willing. How about that?
She's the spokesperson for President Mahama. I don't expect anything different. I don't expect the tone to be any different.
By that, should I say that because you're the spokesperson for Dr. Baumia, I shouldn't expect anything different?
But we are not talking about him right now. Dr.
I mean, of course,
he's at home. He's relaxing. He's on tour. He's not the president of this country.
But you just opposed the previous government to this current government, so...
Yes, what I'm saying is that they are in government right now, so we expect them to...
More accountability.
Yes, we expect them to stick to the promises that they gave us. There was a promise that they were going to use AI and whatnot. And there are a lot of the things that they even want to trumpet as their new things. The geofencing, all of those things, they existed before you came. So now that you have come, one of the only things I was seeing that was different was they were saying they had the political will, they were going to check their own people doing this galamsey. And on that tangent, they are failing woefully. I just gave her a long list of her people involved. Some of them, investigations have been started. I expected to see reports, what is happening with all of them. Because it cannot be that you are expecting to fight galamsey, you are defending GoldBod. There's nothing wrong with that. I also think GoldBod is, it's, you know, we have to find a way to monetize the system so that it benefits the country, fine. But you cannot do that without solving the root cause of the galamsey problem, which is leading to the degradation of the environment.
I give a few seconds to Vicky.
Yeah, no, I just have a quick question, actually. Do we have something on, I haven't been to the GoldBod site recently, but do we have something there that lists the mines that they actually deal with, the licensed?
The licensed.
Yeah, because if we have that,
aggregators.
you know,
So,
if we have that, then it will help us to know who's legal and who is not.
Oh, I'm
legal.
sure we can. We'll have
The
to
website is
something
usually
that
very
can be
informative,
done.
though.
Yeah,
I
this is
haven't.
what I mean. So you just go on there and see who's
They buy
licensed
from
and who-
aggregators,
because
right?
yes.
The
they do.
aggregators, who do the aggregators?
Yeah, so the aggregators also have
to provide where they are buying.
Yeah, I mean,
But
in this day and age of technology,
it
that's
shouldn't
very
be difficult.
easy. Yes.
But I'm telling you, it's not
So
like
we
that
need
so
to,
far.
yeah, so if we don't have that, then I think that's one way in which the GoldBod can debunk all of this.
Okay.
You go on their website and you see for yourself what they are doing and who they are doing it with. And that's the end of that. You know?
Okay. Well, if you go to the website, GoldBod, it will give you what they do about us. They have their policy, they have the news and releases, they have media, they have a repository as well, they have licenses and how you can as well contact them.
So we
I
need
think
another one.
you need.
License, yeah,
Vicky
list
is
of
asking for
license.
more on
Even
the
on
page.
their own-
No, just for their own reputation,
For the-
just to stop all sorts of
For the
arguments.
GoldBod Act, under their compliance requirements, that's on page 42 of the publication. One, it requires that the board shall every quarter publish on its website a report on the operations of the GoldBod, revenue, contracts entered into, expenditure, responsible sourcing and traceability, and any other matters the minister may direct. The GoldBod shall ensure that the report is accessible to the public and allow the public to review and submit recommendations for public policy. Can you tell me if you saw anything on traceability on their website? So by their own acts, they are not compliant.
But they haven't done a year yet. Isn't this a report?
First quarter.
That's now-
Oh,
that's the first quarter.
Okay, they've done a quarter. Yeah.
Okay. If you went on the website, I don't speak for GoldBod, but if you went on the website and you look through, casually look at it, they have quite carefully segmented the what they do. And if you're interested, just go there and take a read. But thank you so much. That's how we end the news review segment for today, Monday. We're joined by Victoria Bright. She's corporate lawyer and an entrepreneur as well. Dr. Iko Amwako, deputy spokesperson for Dr. Bawumia. And of course, we had Shamima Muslim. She's deputy presidential spokesperson who joined us via Zoom with her contributions. But a reminder that the AM show is sponsored by Shield Silicone Paint from Azar Group, Syntex Pipes, and Time Herbal Mr. Ghana. Let's talk water tanks. Do you know the secrets to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it's not the correct tank. That's right. The tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is the champion of water tanks. It is strong and durable and built to handle our Ghanaian weather, rain or shine. Syntex tank, it has your back. So my people, go outside, check your tank, and if it doesn't have a tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Call 0244-335-168 to buy now or find one of their 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online, syntexch.com. Syntex tank air strong, air tough. Let me tell you about Time Herbal Mixture that was suitable for treatment of malaria, fever, loss of appetite, general body pain as well, and the capsule as well, good for rashes, difficulty in urinating, immune support system, and general well-being as well. Both products are suitable for use by individuals of all gender. For bulk purchase, contact Time Herbal, all herbal and pharmacy shops, or call 02444-17669, 024-441-7669. Please stay this more on the show, and thank you, ladies, for joining us for the news review.